So, ZvP, considering how to deal with a 3 pylon wall off at the top of the ramp in your main with a cannon contain and a gas block. It's a pretty strange and non-standard scenario that you don't see very much, but it's very expensive for the Protoss to execute. We'll think about how to identify that that's happening. So here, let me back up real quick. I go for a hatch first on this map. And because your natural expansion is now a gold base, a lot of times the Protoss will send a probe here to delay this hatch. So the first tell that made me suspicious of what the opponent is doing is when I send my drone here to take an expansion, and the probe could pretty easily walk over here and either run around in circles and or build a pylon to delay this base. But they don't do that. So I'm thinking, well, why would they want me to take this gold base when they already have something in place to delay it? Couple things it could be. It could be proxy gateways, like 4 gateways of Zealot, or it could be a cannon rush established back here, or in this game, it could be a cannon rush established here. So the opponent comes in and scouts. They take my far gas geyser, which doesn't happen very often, but you would think about, why would they do this? Why would they build this? So I try to just make sure I at least get one of the gas geysers, and I take a gas. I'm going to take a pool. I sent a drone down here to scout. I wanted to see if there were proxy gateways. Sometimes they'll try and distract you with something in the main, and then have their proxy gateways being powered up. And then here, you kind of realize what it is. 3 pylons to wall off. Notice this is very expensive. The Protoss can't really afford anything else at home. Just 17 workers in the main and a forge. No gateway, no natural. So their tech is very, very delayed to put this big obstacle between my main and my natural. It turns out that this drone scout is a little bit dual purpose. One purpose was ruling out proxy gateways here, but once I see that it's a really committed cannon contain type move, I'm going to send this drone and then build a base in their base. I mind a little bit of gas here, but I kind of realize that if they do get cannons up on this high ground, they'll be able to shoot this extractor. That's the reason they didn't steal this one first. They stole this one first because it's harder to get a cannon rush over here to lay this base. So at this point I realize I can't stop the cannon rush. The cannons won't be able to kill my hatchery, but they will be able to kill this extractor. So I'm building a base in their base, and then I'm going to make some lings from this expansion and rally them to their opponent's base, just to get some value from this location, and also kind of give them a bad time. You boil down StarCraft, it's 1v1. Basically the objective is to give your opponent a bad time. So 6 lings here. I do get some value from the larva at this base. Cannons shooting everything. Cannons are fairly noisy as well, which is an advantage, I guess. Cool. So, this point with the lings, 6 lings can get past a cannon. Notice I lost 3 of them, but 3 lings in the opponent's main is still pretty annoying for them to deal with. Now thinking about what these lings could potentially do. They can kill probes, but at a pretty slow rate. If these probes all fight these 3 lings, the probes will definitely win. They could probably beat these 3 lings with about 8 probes, if they were microed perfectly. But here, I'm drawing the opponent's attention to these 3 lings, which is pulling it away from my main idea, which is making drones from this base to make spines. Because they delayed my gas so much, I can't really put roaches in their base really early. And lings aren't that good against cannons and bases, but spines are incredibly strong in the early game. They don't scale with upgrades, but against unupgraded units, spine crawlers are very, very powerful. So I'm actually taking a big income lead here by just running the lings around and not trading. Notice I have about 800 mineral income, and they have 60, 40, So even with a pro bleed, I'm making about 7 times their income. And they do clean up these lings. Gradually, I would like to end up cleaning up this shenaniganry. The opponent has vision of my potential third here, which I did not take. I'm opting for spine crawlers and constant queen production here. This overlord was my first overlord, and it flew over this area to scout if it was a gate cyber wall off, and then it flew here to check the timing of this natural expansion. So at this point, I'm in a pretty good spot. I have 21 workers in my main. I have a bunch of spines, and then I'm sieging their base using lings as a little bit of a buffer. Killing this nexus will delay their income even more. I made one spore crawler just in case they like had a Stargate before the right. So I'm very slowly kind of creeping and poking toward their next base. Making queens from this hatch. This queen has quite a bit of energy, and I can use this spine to slowly kill this pylon and then eventually beat this cannon. And if you beat the stuff at the high ground, these low ground buildings won't have any vision. So this spine can kill these 2 buildings from the high ground once creep is established. An improvement in my play here, I could have sent one of these overlords to this base and just to some of these outer bases. I didn't think of it at the time. It's kind of a taxing scenario that I don't get to practice very much, which is like sieging the opponent with spines from their main. And you would expect anytime you do a new sort of format for a match, it's going to be a little bit slower and a lot of your fundamentals are going to slip. So my fundamental skill of vision slipped quite a bit here with these 4 overlords not really accomplishing anything. So notice the opponent still has very little tech. They have 2 gateways that are morphing into warp gates, but not really any units. So I can morph or move these spine crawlers down, transfuse them. I'm making roaches now. Trying to focus the mothership core. Killing energy units is really good because they're not gaining value while they're alive. They have to remake that. It's also a pretty fragile piece, so with 4 queens you can pick it off pretty quickly. So if I had Overlord Vision of this base, I could make lings from this base and kill this as it's building and basically end the game right here. But because I don't do that, I'm a little bit too focused on this sieging event here and this kind of cleanup procedure here. Continuing to spread creep. Notice my money is pretty high. I'm not keeping up queen production here perfectly. And I could even make some queens from this base as well. Queens and lings. At this point it's basically game. Just have kind of a repeat push at this base. The only difference between sieging this base with queen, spine, roach, and this base is I add some ravagers, which adds some effective DPS for the army, and you can use corrosive bile in the buildings. Cool. The Zerg version of a reverse cannon rush. When you get cannoned and then siege them with static defense back. GG.